Hello everyone, Ray here. This is the HTC U Ultra in the mighty gorgeous sapphire blue color. It took me quite some time to pick the right jacket and the right pair of earphones. So there we have it. So I've been daily driving it for like about a week's time. Let's have a look. If we want to get rid of the stealthy but dull black or silver aluminum body, here you go. The U Ultra is indeed the most beautiful and elegant smartphone I've seen, at least for the last couple of months. The shiny, glossy sapphire blue Gorilla Glass 5 panel on the back definitely makes the phone stand out, with style. You're right, having a blue phone isn't HTC's invention, while the reflective mirror-like design on the back does reminds me the Xperia Z5 Premium. However, it looks and feels completely different in reality. The gently curved bluish mirror on the back simply looks gorgeous. Build quality is also top-notch. The curved glass back meets the aluminum frame like one piece. There's no plastic or cushioning frame, that kind of stuff. While unlike most other phones, instead of a dual-tone design, the color-matched aluminum frame contributes to the unibody-like impression, and make it even harder to distinguish the sudden change in materials. The fallen rockers and the power button also give the strongest feedback I've pressed, with a distinct texture on the power button. Keep it up, HTC. The design, great. Build quality, impressive. But both are not flawless. That camera hump. But to be fair, if you are putting into a case anyway, it won't be a problem. Another flaw would be the strange implementation of the plastic frame, wrapping not only the display panel, but also taking up like 1/5 of the metal frame. The idea could be to avoid sharp edges caused by the switch in materials, or to increase durability, but it traps dust and seems to be more prone to scratches and scuffs as well. And that bezel. You'll love it if you love the iPhone. And again, the navigation buttons all the way down here. Not only do they look weird for that unbalanced design, but also make the back button nearly impossible to reach with one hand, which is ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, the second screen above the 5.7 inches main screen. It is a two-handed phone, without a doubt. Hardware-wise, we've got dual SIM or microSD expansion here in the UK, 64 gigs of storage plus a microSD card slot, nothing to complain. Then we have one of the 4 microphones right next to it. Down to the bottom side we have another microphone, one of the 2 speakers and a USB Type-C port with USB on-the-go support. However, there's neither a 3.5mm jack on the phone nor a converter included in the box. In the US you can at least pay for it, but in the UK it is simply not available. Even if I've bought a converter from Amazon, it's not supported. You will have to either stick with the HTC U Sonic earphones, which sound decent but nowhere come close to what I used to have, or you will have to pair it up with Bluetooth headsets. Fortunately, HTC's finally done something right and it's amazing. The 3D high-res audio recording feature for videos simply blown me away. Now listen with your earphones. The fingerprint sensors also worth some applause. It is one of the fastest sensors I've tried. And of course, the boom sound dual speaker setup. More on that later. Overall, the sapphire blue glass back with a glossy design definitely stands out, and it is one of the more well-built, sophisticated and elegant flagships. Not necessarily flawless, but gorgeous. Alright, instead of digging deep into the system, let's check out the camera first, because we are talking Google Pixel class experience here. Long story short, a 12 megapixels camera with 1.55 micron massive pixels, an f1.8 aperture backed with optical image stabilization, face detection together with laser autofocus. Technically it is even better than the one on the Pixel XL. You can also shoot with whatever the settings you want via manual mode, like faster shutter speed for shooting pets, animals or kids, or longer exposure with as low as possible ISO for extreme quality low-light photography. While on the front, I'm not into selfie, but here we've got a 16 megapixels selfie shooter with a really cool feature, the Ultra Pixel mode, that combines 4 pixels to 1 in order to achieve better low-light performance. And just in case if you want to tell everyone you are taking a selfie, okay, there you go, selfie flash. Anyway, how does it perform in reality? First of all, focusing speed's acceptable, above the average, but you will get better experience on the S7 or the Pixel XL, but the quality of the image is sick, even though the light source on the train was limited, but look at those details. With the f1.8 aperture, you can also expect some smooth bokeh out of this camera. Okay, here we have a bunch of photos taken with the U Ultra with auto mode. Yep, it is a 12 megapixels sensor, but the details are indeed crisp and clear, the best we can get. The white balance, a bit on the cooler side, but with accurate saturation and minimal artifact. Images look sharp, but not over-sharpened. Noise cancellation is a little bit more aggressive than the HTC 10, but still gives a sharper and cleaner look overall. With auto HDR support, the U Ultra also captures terrific dynamic range. Maybe the sky is not as saturated as the images taken with the Pixel or the Samsung, but it is exactly what I experienced in real life. Natural, true to life would be the best description. If daytime shooting haven't impressed you yet, low-light performance is where the U Ultra shines. Again, all the pictures we have here are taken with auto mode. The U Ultra has clearly surpassed my eyesight. Inside a restaurant with limited light sources, images remained saturated with crazy amount of details. And speaking of details, again, even better than my eyesight. Back to outdoor, but with reasonable light sources. The shots are actually even brighter than it is, but again, really smooth and clean, with minimal digital noise. Color reproductions also there, the white balance never gone to warm or red, while unlike the similarly spec'd Pixel XL, it doesn't capture night scenes with lens flare. Still in the city, but without direct light sources, it still manages to capture all the details with respectable sharpness. And here we've come to the most surprising bit. The only light source was actually that street lamp, and I didn't expect the U Ultra to shoot even a usable photo. But it turned out to be way beyond my expectation. This camera is insane. It even captures the clouds with auto mode. High dynamic scenes in extreme low light environment. No problem. Here are the details in the highlights. Stay tuned for the comparison between the Pixel XL and the U Ultra. Meanwhile, the U Ultra also captures rock-stable handheld videos in 4K. Image processing is again on the natural side, with sharp but not over-sharpened details. Backed with OIS, it also captures well-stabilized videos in all situations. But of course, you are getting even better results on the Pixel and the Xperia XZ with EIS support. 3D high-res audio recording though brings the videos to life. Feel free to plug in your earphones and listen. Performance and features. The Android 7.0 based HTC Sense looks and behaves more or less the same as we've experienced on the HTC 10. Not necessarily bad, it is light, stock Android-like, but you know, it is boring and a bit 2016-ish. Frame drops and stutters are also noticeable, but not a big deal. Thankfully, we've got new features that come with Android 7.0, including the notification preview panel, also multi-window. Third-party apps support is magnificent. Running two apps side by side on a 5.7 inches phablet is a delightful experience for sure. But those are features that every phone packs nowadays. The series of motion gestures, however, were exclusive to HTC Sense, but it is not the case anymore in this day and age. Anyway, double tap to wake, swipe upward to unlock directly, or swipe to the right to enter blink feed are always handy shortcuts to have. While double pressing the power button from the camera, then using the volume rockers as the camera shutter key are also good to have, but nothing out of ordinary. Personalization, however, is where HTC Sense shines. If you are coming from the HTC 10, then you'll be familiar with not only the classic, traditional theme styles, but also the completely free-to-design freestyle themes. I love those Mario stickers. And most importantly, we can give every single sticker their dedicated app shortcuts. Those features can only be found on HTC devices. The secondary screen in the meantime, it is a shameless rip-off from the LG V20. They function more or less the same. The potentially most practical feature would be the favorite apps bar. Switching between apps now require 1 or 2 steps less. Notifications are also redirected to the second screen instead of having some really distracting windows. It is a handy feature to have if you watch videos or game a lot, but still, same as the V20, not a decision-making killing feature. Performance-wise, it is a 2016 spec flagship with a Snapdragon 821 processor, 4GB of RAM, a Quad HD 2K SLCD5 display. It is definitely more than we need for day-to-day media consumption. But yes, for future-proofing, it is less future-proof than the Snapdragon 835 and will be outdated in a few months' time. And just in case if you want to check out which is the fastest phone right now and how the HTC U Ultra performs in a more quantitative way, here we have the app's opening speed test. Not comparable to the Mate 9. Then we open the apps again in order to check out how it handles multitasking. Fortunately, despite having just 4GB of RAM, it succeeded to keep all the apps in memories. It also took quite a while to reload Perfect Angle. Not exactly reloading the game, but that black screen. Overall, it shows nearly no improvement over the HTC 10, so performance-wise it is a 2016 flagship. Still, the difference between the Mate 9 and the U Ultra in day-to-day navigation is minimal. While the Adreno 530 GPU comes with a Snapdragon 821 processor, handles more than 30 titles without any issue. It offers solid performance even in one of the most hardware-demanding games, Perfect Angle. Multimedia experience in contrast, the Quad HD 2K SLCD5 display is gorgeous. Oh, finally we've got sunshine, and the display holds up really well in outdoor, under broad daylight. Anti-contrast and typical IPS displays, this is a really sharp and beautiful display. We are talking AMOLED-like experience on an LCD display. Meanwhile, Quad HD resolution on a 5.7 inches display if we compare it to the Mate 9 with a 5.9 inches 1080p display. The clarity and the sharpness are a huge step up. You will definitely notice it. It's simply the best LCD-based display I've seen. Moving on to the boom sound dual speaker setup, it takes up the earpiece on the front just like the HTC 10, but the audio quality is kind of disappointing. It's not as loud as its predecessor, and is also lacking bass and mids. They sound much flatter and softer than the Mate 9. Headphone audio quality though is still a question. The Type-C to 3.5mm converter is even not available here in the UK. So for now, I will either have to wait or plug in the bundled Usonic earphones. It does sound extraordinary. If you never go deep into earphones or that kind of stuff, you will be happy with it. But for people like me invested hundreds of thousands of pounds or dollars on that jack, come on HTC, at least you have to include a converter inside the box. Last but one of the most essential elements of a smartphone, the battery life. A 3000 mAh battery is not bad at all if it is in 2015. According to the standard battery life test that plays 4 hours YouTube videos with maximum screen brightness, it performed marginally worse than the smaller HTC 10. While according to the more all-rounded battery life test, first we'll play videos on YouTube for an hour with 50% screen brightness, then scroll along the timeline for another hour, finally mess with Clash Royale for another hour. Altogether 3 hours of media consumption, it drained 60% of the battery, 28% more than the Mate 9 Pro. Medium to light usage can hopefully last up to like 1 day, but heavy users, you will have to carry your power bank for extra juice. All in all, it is a really gorgeous smartphone, with top-notch build quality, the best camera on a smartphone, an AMOLED-like SLCD5 display which is fantastic to look at. Also a dual speaker setup that further enhance gaming and video watching experience. But here are the downsides: 2016 performance, and a 3000 mAh battery powering a 5.7 inches LCD display. But to be fair, other than the headphone jack and the battery, it is a really promising device overall, especially the camera and the display. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed watching this video. Like it if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe. There are also 2 videos for you to click to watch next. See you next time.